This show can't miss. Guys, what it do? It's your boy Caped Informer back in the building to bring you my review, or rather my take on the highly anticipated third season of Cobra Kai, and more importantly, why they can't miss. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, fellas. Like what started off as a YouTube original series is now one of Netflix's most watched shows, and for good reason. For those that have seen up to season 2, the show took a major risk that was almost positive would throw off the entire series, but nah. Season 3 somehow beat the last 2 seasons in character development, depth, storytelling, even cameos. It's a whole television phenomenon for real. But before we get into what I believed worked and what maybe didn't work so well this season, do your boy a solid and tap on that like and subscribe button. Okay, so we pick up right after the end of season 2, where poor Miguel is recovering from taking quite the fall after the all-out school brawl, which was started by his crazy jealous ex-girlfriend, which we'll get to in time. Anyways, this was a pivotal end to the season because we really didn't know if the kid was going to pull through, and the first couple episodes of season 3 played that up so well. From the trailers you can tell he was going to at least wake up, but we didn't know to what extent he'd be paralyzed or for how long. These sequences that saw Miguel fighting an opponent to symbolize him fighting his coma was genius, and added so much to the anxiety and depth of the entire situation. It's scenes like this that make you realize why Miguel is literally the perfect underdog archetype, because even when odds are completely against him, the kid just grits his teeth and gets it done, man. He has heart. However, he's going to need a lot more than heart to gain the ability to walk again, and who better than his sensei Johnny Lawrence to help him do it. I'm not so sure how realistic Miguel's whole recovery process was, but it was realistic enough for the sake of the show and served a purpose to help motivate Johnny to get back into the arena of sensei-ing. And he's going to need that kick in the ass because his and Dana LaRusso, well, mostly Danny's reputation has been demolished after the high school brawl, which in turn makes things difficult for his wife and daughter Samantha as well. Danny, per usual, is the last to figure out things at home aren't right, and Samantha is going through some things, following not only Miguel's accident, but the disappearance of Robby. She really does go through it and gives us a convincing performance of her character going through bouts of intense rage and anxiety. But let's go over to Robby's character real quick. What in the exact is up with this kid? Like, I excuse his whole teenage angst in the last 2 seasons, but they can't keep going in circles with his character. After they find him, Danny gets him put in jail. He hates LaRusso and his dad now. His dad reaches out, but I guess not when he needs him. He gets his ass beat in juvie and somehow ends up siding with Kreese and Cobra Kai. Like, I appreciate the show trying to keep us all on our toes, but enough is enough with the flip-flopping, man. We got to get this kid an identity and just stick with it. At least they gave him a haircut this season. I mean, he still looks like they pulled him out of a cheesy 90s Disney original movie, but we're making improvements. We can stay on this character and his development in the series all day, quite honestly, but for the sake of time, let's hit on Kreese and his big villain debut in season 3. This season did have a couple of new storylines, digging into the past of John Kreese, who started out as actually a pretty decent guy with a history of mental health issues running in his family. He headed off to Vietnam, and it was here that certain traumatic events transpired that turned him into the no-mercy sociopath that we know today. After not only being captured by Vietnam soldiers due to his inability to follow orders, he finds out his girlfriend back home died in a car accident, and he has to fight against his commanding officer to the death to save his life and those of his unit. When a rescue platoon comes in to save him and the others, he leaves with his life, but the Kreese he once was died back on that battlefield. Bro, I don't know how they pulled it off, but they really gave a jackass character like Kreese the most gangster backstory ever that not only intrigues you, but makes you feel kind of sorry for him. Flashbacks in TV series are often hit and miss, but the Kreese Vietnam backstory was right on the money. The acting was top notch, and the black and white tone didn't even throw me off. Like, I wouldn't mind watching a whole spin-off series about the old sadist if they ever went that route. But damn, if you weren't feeling the character in season 2, you definitely have to see where the showrunners were going with this now. And it's also necessary because Kreese really does go off the deep end in this season, with fully taking over Cobra Kai, cutting the fat off the team by putting them through some sadistic tests, and then recruiting even more naturally athletic members. We see his influence push a number of characters over the edge, namely Hawk, who actually breaks Dimitri's arm in the show, which even at this point, I can't believe they even made him do that. It was really hard to watch. Let's not forget about Tori, who went from jealous ex-girlfriend to murderous ex-girlfriend real quick. Well, at least she was close. So was all the other Cobra Kai kids, man. It was getting messy. It was a delight to see Hawk finally convert back to Miguel's side during the all-out brawl at LaRusso's house, which was just another insane scene. I can't tell which, but the fight choreography is either getting more violent or just overall better, and either way, I'm here for it. It teeters the line of professional wrestling and expert martial arts choreography, which I feel like is perfect for the tone of the show, that while it does get dark at times, it still doesn't take itself too seriously. What we can, however, take seriously is this show's commitment to bringing back every major character from the original movie series. Daniel has to take a trip to Japan to negotiate a deal that would help save his dealership, and this reunites him with Karate Kid Part 2 characters Kimiko and Chosen. In this trip, Kimiko doesn't only connect Daniel to someone that can save his business, but Chosen, once his mortal enemy, teaches him the last remaining lessons of Mr. Miyagi, which comes in handy in the final episode of the season. They also bring in Elizabeth Shue as Allie from the original Karate Kid, which is something I really wanted them to do but didn't quite believe they would. And it wasn't cheesy or weird at all. Like, the method in which they reintroduced her was clever and served as a great addition to the story. And no, they didn't go the super predictable route by letting her get back with Johnny, which would have complicated things with his budding relationship with Miguel's mom. Yes, Johnny finally clapped those cheeks, go him. She even had the fun back and forth with Danny and his wife about their old relationship, which, when you think about it, she might have been the true villain of the original movie all along. Either way, she pleasantly just returns as a friend and a blast from the past to the characters, but leaves the door open for coming back in the next season as a more prominent character. We end the season in a major way with a fight against Kreese that sees Johnny and Daniel team up. They both fight in Robby's honor, who I said once and I'll say it again, hit the lost cause. Johnny ends up laying out old man Kreese first before he's intercepted by Robby. The weak kid gets knocked out when Johnny pushes him off him, and Kreese takes advantage to choke out Johnny. Then he comes through to save him in the nick of time, furious about him sending the Cobra Kai kids to fight Miyagi-Do at his house, which, like I said, I agree, that was insane. They proved to Kreese they aren't kids anymore and can stand toe-to-toe with him, which was satisfying to see, but things ended when Miguel and Samantha show up. They agree to settle things in the Valley tournament, which I'm expecting big things from in season 4. One small part in the final episode which really leaves us wondering is Kreese's phone call to his army friend, who he saved in the flashback earlier in the episode. This friend essentially told Kreese in that scene he owes him his life, and Kreese seems to be calling in a favor. I don't think we've seen that character from any previous films, but it sounds like he'll be another major component to the next season. Either way, guys, I'm pumped. I couldn't be more happy about how season 3 turned out. The only thing I can hope for is that we get hour-long episodes, because these 30-minute ones are just not doing this epic show justice. And it apparently won't be the last season either, because they just came out and said they have a lot more mapped out for the show. Anyways, guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and I'll catch you all on my next one. Peace!